Good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Live and Learn podcast. Hope you're doing well on this Sunday, September the 21st. A great day of NFL football. Lots to talk about as week 3 has commenced. We got a lot of results, a lot of interesting storylines today. And it was just this weekend, it was chillier, not quite as warm. It felt like football. And to me, it could feel like football being 30 degrees. But colder weather, you're seeing some just abysmal decision-making, abysmal intelligence or lack thereof from certain teams around the league. So we're going to get into all of it here tonight. And really, we're joining at the conclusion of the Chargers defeating the Broncos, the conclusion of the Bears blowing out the Dallas Cowboys, pardon me. So lots happening around the league, and I thought it was a great day and a day of perseverance and a general outlook of a team today for the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers are at home, favorite, but they're at home. You're playing the Broncos, who had a lot of preseason love, teams that could win the division. I thought the Broncos would be a playoff team. I didn't think they'd win the division. Be a tough division game, a Broncos defense that's as tough as it gets. Nick Bonito, Alex Singleton, Cooper they were great today. For the most part, they were fantastic all game long. And through all of it, you had Justin Herbert make a huge play late in the game to tie it at 20. And you just had a team that lost Mekhi Becton on the offensive line, lost Najee Harris to a season-ending injury, sure looked like a torn Achilles to me. And it didn't matter. Found a way, escaped the pocket. Keenan Allen, he's healthy for now. He's making big plays, catching touchdowns. And Jim Harbaugh has that team believing and has that team playing extremely well. Quentin Johnston's gotten better, had the yips, couldn't make a big catch. All of a sudden now the TCU product looks awesome. Omarion Hampton used more in the offense. A defense that is led by Derwin James, who had another awesome game. And to me, the Chargers are 3-0 in a really tough AFC West. You beat the Chiefs, neutral site. And you beat the Broncos at home. You beat the Raiders on a Monday night on the road. 3-0 in division to start the season. That's humongous. Because in all likelihood, you're going to be a playoff team because of this start. Finding a way to win. Doing whatever you damn well have to do to get the victory. The Chargers did it. The Chargers, Justin Herbert looks like a gamer. He doesn't have a seatbelt on. He doesn't look like he's being protected. Playing incredibly well. Balling out, some might say. Doing his thing. Finding a way to win. For the Broncos, you have a lead. Fourth quarter. Even when giving up the lead, you get the ball back, Bo Nix. On his last drive that they had, he had a touchdown. He overthrew Marvin Mims by probably 8 yards. He played solid, but he missed a lot of open receivers. And through 3 weeks, he has not played good football. Top to bottom, he hasn't been that good of a quarterback. In big moments, he's missing throws that you have to complete, that have to come together, period. And it hasn't been happening enough for Bo Nix, while the quarterbacks around him, whether it was Danny Dimes in week 2 or Justin Herbert in this game, have outplayed him. Chargers, no Khalil Mack, no Mekhi Becton, no Najee Harris. Still find a way to win. Drive down the field, Cameron Dicker makes the kick, you walk it off. There was a lot of that today. But I give big ups to the Chargers because they had a lot going against them. And it's hard to be good 2 years in a row. To be a playoff team last year, Jim Harbaugh in year 2. Sure, you could say we're going to get better, but they haven't gotten better in Denver. To look at a similar thing, Sean Payton year 2, year 3, year 2 with Bo Nix. So with this iteration of the team, they're regressing. They've lost both close games that they've been in. Week 2, they get walked off by the Colts. They take a stupid penalty. Week 3, they get walked off by the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers are legit. AFC, it's Buffalo, Baltimore. And that's where it starts. And it probably will remain for some time until somebody else can prove that they can be there. And Kansas City, I think, can get back into that fight. But they're on the side for now because you can only base it on the results that we've seen. But looking at the Chargers, they're third. They're winning close games. They're getting good quarterback play. They overcame turnovers today. They overcame mistakes and still found a way to win in a division game. That defense is really good, just like the Broncos' defense is really good. They found a way. And sometimes that's all it is. Find a way to win that game. They did that today. And they deserve a ton of credit. Like I say, Keenan Allen, a guy that I certainly didn't see Keenan Allen having a research. It was late in training camp they signed him. He had 7 catches, 65 yards, and a touchdown today. Quentin Johnson, 6 catches for 89. Gadsden, rookie tight end / wide receiver out of Syracuse, 5 catches for 46 yards. 3 of those were on third down. His team's got some injuries, but I think they can overcome them enough to stay in the fight, to stay in the mix. And like I said, you win your first 3 games of the season, all division rivals. History tells us that's going to be a playoff team, just based on that. And you did 1 neutral site and you did 1 on the road. That's all. Kudos to Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers. They found a way. Before we get to the bigger games, Caleb Williams torched the Dallas Cowboys. Torched them. Might have been his best game as an NFL player. He looked extremely confident. He moved incredibly well. And there were still times where you go, okay, he didn't have to escape the pocket to try to make that throw. But you have to live with that because Caleb is such a talent and he can use his legs in as many different ways that he can torch a defense. But 19 for 28, 298, 4 touchdowns, was not sacked today. Had very little pressures, quite frankly. They didn't run the ball well, so I guess Jerry Jones is right in that he wanted Kenny Clark in order to stuff the run. So kudos to him on that trade, but they didn't sack the quarterback, and Caleb threw 4 touchdown passes to 4 different receivers. Luther Burden Jr. III, Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, and Cole Kmet. Spread the ball around a chunk plays. DJ Moore, 65-yard touchdown. Odunze, 35-yard touchdown. Colston Loveland had a 31-yard catch. DeAndre Swift had a 41-yard catch. Big play offense all over Dallas. And that Dallas defense has looked pretty putrid through 3 weeks. They gave up 40 points to the Giants. The Eagles ran all over them. And now Chicago wins a game that was, you look at it go 31-40. It was more a wider margin than that. Dak Prescott got benched towards the back end of the game. He was picked off twice. They fumbled the ball. You had Joe Milton, the backup, got intercepted. Like, it was a disaster of a game. And you're in Chicago, a team that had not won, had displayed very little confidence, a lot of disarray with Caleb and Ben Johnson and where this team's going and what their offense and what their defense was the first 2 weeks, giving up just 50 points last week to the Detroit Lions. But I thought Caleb has played pretty, first half in week 1, didn't play well. Last week's hard to gauge because you lost 52-21, whatever it was. But overall, his play was pretty good. The defense was terrible, and they give up big plays, but that's not his side of the ball. He's gotten better every week. And I think that's the goal of Ben Johnson. It's going to take time. When to be athletic and when to be a quarterback, and there's that pull of when do you let him loose and when do you let him, truly, but master the mechanics, master being in the pocket, going from check to check to check, making the throw, which is something you see the best quarterbacks do, and make those, and there's quarterbacks around the league. Jalen Hurts, can be criticized for not doing that as much as one might, as you'd like to, because he'll make his first read, which is run and take off. Matthew Stafford, really good at doing this. So there's different quarterbacks around the league that could certainly work on this. But he looked confident. He looked comfortable. And you got to see against a team that's built well and competent and all these different things. But is the Cowboys' defense good? No. But that doesn't mean he didn't play a good game. That doesn't mean it can't translate. As I said, I think every week he's gotten better. And there's some, confidence to be gained from that fact. His receivers seem to be on a better page with him. He does have better weapons that he can use around the field. The running game didn't work today, but that's what Dallas, defense tells you they do better than just about anybody now by trading Micah Parsons and getting Kenny Clark. The Bears still have holes. They still, like I said, I don't completely trust them. I thought they could be a playoff team. I'm still not comfortable in that opinion, but you got a lot. There was teams today that I thought could be playoff teams that lost. Patriots come to mind, Raiders come to mind. So we'll see. But there's positives, good things, certainly coming from Chicago, and Ben Johnson running a system that worked. A system that, had some good things incorporated in it, certainly. Using strengths, all these different things to ultimately get the team to win. Creating turnovers on the defensive side. Needed a response. Dennis Allen got one. 3 interceptions and a forced fumble. Pretty good day for that defense in Chicago. So that brings us to the Cowboys. I like the Bears. Except we'll see. They got the Raiders next Sunday in Vegas. Very winnable game. Bye week, Commanders, Saints. They could win their next 3 games. Doesn't mean they're going to, but they can win all those games. Be like 500 by midway point of the season. We'll see. I'm rooting for Caleb, though. The Cowboys. Lose to the Eagles, nobody surprised. Beat the Giants in a game that they should have lost, but their kicker is superhuman, so they win. Brandon Aubrey, who's a stud. So kudos to Brandon Aubrey. But they should have, he kicked a 65-yard field goal, go to overtime. You beat the Giants, who nobody thinks any good. So way to go. And then you get blown out on the road by the Bears. So, where do we go from here? Their defense is terrible. Their pass defense is brutal. They can stop the run, okay. Great, but you can't attack the quarterback because you traded your best pass rusher to Green Bay. And yeah, they lost today, but we'll get to that. But there's a bigger... The Cowboys are, the Cowboys are a Ferrari with no engine. It's a nice car, but it's not getting you anywhere. You're not going anywhere with that setup. Shiny, people want to talk, people like it, but it's a Ferrari without an engine. They lost CeeDee Lamb and Dak kind of pressed, and George Pickens had a George Pickens type game where he sucked and he dropped a couple of passes and was a disaster. Javonte Williams, they can run the football really well. Javonte Williams behind that offensive line, positive there. Looks good. They could use him in Denver, letting him go. However, it's a nothing team. No threat. They'll finish 6-7 wins probably. They'll miss the playoffs. Somewhat be in the mix all year, but not really. Dak's good, not great quarterback who's aging, played a lot of football. And again, he's not the worst guy in the league, but he's certainly not the best at this point of his career. But, they get lots of talk. Tom Brady, and Kevin Burkhardt called the game today because you got to put the Cowboys on national TV. They're on national TV next Sunday night. They're going to play the Green Bay Packers. Micah Parsons' return to Detroit. That'll be a fun build-up all week. Both teams coming off embarrassing losses for a variety of different reasons. If you missed it this afternoon, the Green Bay Packers, who I thought could have been a 11.5, 12.5 point favorite, and I mean that sincerely, lost to the Cleveland Browns. Lost to the Cleveland Browns. There was a theme around football today. If you haven't picked up on it, that's why you came to me. There were 9 return for touchdowns today in the league. That could be pick 6. That could be a punt return, kick return for a touchdown. Could be a block kick return for a touchdown. 9 return for touchdowns today. 5 field goals blocked today across the league, otherwise known as the NFL. Which one would think, what's the conclusion? The conclusion here is that special teams matter. And we know kicking, because so many kickers just aren't good and miss kicks and get cut. And you forget, you have, Brandon Aubrey, who makes you feel so good about yourself, and he can make a 60-yarder in his sleep, and that's fine and dandy as well. But special teams has to be addressed. The new kickoff rules, I love them. Make the game more interesting, make you need to watch every kickoff. Because if you kick it out of the end zone, the opposition starts at their own 35, which is a huge advantage, because that's basically one Dallas Cowboy first down away from being, a field goal eligible for Brandon Aubrey. It makes it tough on your defense. You feel like, okay, we need to put it within the 20, so they have to return it. That could be a good thing. That could be a bad thing. Teams clearly hadn't practiced it for years, so it wasn't a priority. Miami Dolphins, 3 great returns on Thursday night against the Bills. Today, Washington Commanders, kickoff return for a touchdown against Vegas. Block kicks returned it has to be a priority. It has to be addressed. Wasn't in many games. For Green Bay, first knock against them is you're in a tight game with Cleveland. Cleveland has a solid defense. I give them that. Very solid. And they sacked Jordan Love 5 times today. Kudos to them. Even saying that, it's a disaster of an offensive football team. Disaster. They had 142 yards passing. They threw an interception. They fumbled. It was Quinshon Judkins, rookie, Ole Miss. Good game. 18 for 94. Good for him. First career NFL touchdown. But their passing game was irrelevant. Not there. Joe Flacco just doing his 41-year-old Joe Flacco thing. BU scored 10 points the whole game against Cleveland. And they lost. Going to win. Going to win. But a field goal is blocked. Cleveland gets the ball around midfield, pick up a first down, and Andre Smoot, formerly of Syracuse, who was the loser, the GOAT, in week 1, kicks a 55-yard game winner. Cleveland walks off Green Bay. That one hurts. It's an easy 3-0. You put it on the calendar. You pencil it in. And you lost to one of the worst teams in the league. That's a survivor pool buster in that game. As I said, Cleveland could have been a 12.5-point dog, and it wouldn't have been crazy to think about. Their defense, who gave up 41 to the Ravens, responded with a performance today. Credit to Myles Garrett, Carson Schlesinger, their linebacker, who they took out of UCLA, who can flat out ball. What if I have his stats? That he was awesome. Let's see. 6 tackles, a sack, another 3 that he assisted on all over the football. Myles Garrett, sack and a half. Malik Collins, right there. They attacked. They were in Jordan Love's face. Green Bay were missing 2 starters on their offensive line. Still, that's an inexcusable loss to me. That Green Bay team, how much talent they have compared to how much talent Cleveland has. 10 points, a special teams gaffe. If I'm a member of that Green Bay defense, I'm pissed at my team. We held up our end. We give up 10 points on the road. You win that game 9 times out of 10. Yet you lost it. You're going back to Green Bay with a sour taste in your mouth because you just lost to Cleveland. And now you're gearing up all week for Micah Parsons to return to Dallas. Week 4, Sunday Night Football. What theater that will be. For Green Bay, work on your special teams. Luckily for them, even if they're missing offensive linemen, Dallas has proven that they are incapable or incompetent at getting to the quarterback. So there's a positive for Jordan Love. Won't be as tough of a day. But that's a disastrous loss. Brutal. Credit to Cleveland. Competed hard. A lot of pride. Myles Garrett is a competitor. They got a lot of rookies that are playing hard because they're entering the league. Joe Flacco didn't win them the game. He didn't lose them the game either, I'll say. But Cleveland's 1-2 on their schedule, and their win came against Green Bay. I didn't have that on my bingo card. There were some upsets today, some surprising ones. It wasn't a great day for me gambling, I'll be honest, with my predictions. This is one of them. This is one of them, saying Cleveland to cover, let alone for Cleveland to win the game outright. Yeah, I didn't have that. Didn't have that. More special teams gaffes, if you will. The Jets had a special teams play. Blocked a field goal, returned it for a touchdown. They were in Tampa today without Justin Fields. And yet the Jets went full Jets. Baker Mayfield got the ball, drove down the field, chunk play after chunk play, and Chase McLaughlin kicks a 35-yard game winner, walk-off for Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's been in 3 one-possession games. They've won all 3 to start the season. Baker Mayfield has a 98 QBR out of 100 in 2 minutes or less in the fourth quarter. He is first in the NFL in fourth quarter rushing yards by a quarterback. He's been pressured more than any other quarterback in the league through 3 weeks. That's not a good stat, but and they're 3-0. They're missing 3 offensive linemen, and they're going to miss one, Cody Barton, their left tackle, for the rest of the season. They're wounded. Also, Mike Evans left the game, looked like a serious injury, threw his helmet in just pure anger. Through all of it, Bucks win. It's against the Jets, okay? Well, Green Bay lost. So find a way. The Bucks did. Baker today, 19 for 29, 233, 1 touchdown. Was only sacked once, but he was under pressure the whole day. 4 carries for 44 yards. did his thing. Find a way to win the game. Home opener, short week after playing on Monday against Houston. Special teams fucks it up. He gets the ball back and says, no problem. I got you guys. We're going to win this game. And they did. Through 3 weeks to me, and we still got to see a couple performances. Lamar and Jared Goff will play tomorrow night. Monday Night Football, great game. Through 3 weeks, the MVP of the league for me is Baker Mayfield. He's been the most clutch. He was massive in every big moment he shows up. His offensive line is horrible. His defense has been okay. But he's just that guy. Finding a way. Tampa. A lot of these excuses. 3-0. They haven't had that tough a schedule. I don't care. Beat Atlanta on the road. Check. Beat Houston on the road. Check. Beat the Jets at home. Check. It's about winning games. Winning another division title. Putting yourself in the playoff mix like Baker does every year. Fully healthy, the Bucs could get to the Super Bowl. I believe that. They're so wounded. Maybe they'll get healthier down the stretch. It's only week 3. But fully healthy, this team could get to a Super Bowl. And yeah, the Eagles are good, and the Rams are a good team, and Green Bay is still good. I'm not writing them off after a brutal loss. They can compete with all those teams. They get a big test against the Philadelphia Eagles next Sunday at home. They beat Philadelphia at home in a playoff game 2 years ago. Curious to see the line for that game. But that's an awesome game. Probably prime time. 5:25, I would imagine, because you got Dallas, Green Bay is the Sunday nighter. But let's get to Philly. Philadelphia Rams in Philadelphia. 3.5 point spread. I had the Rams. Stupid. And it looked like a great bet because in the first half and the beginning of the second half, it was all Los Angeles. Kyren Williams, Blake Corum running all over Philadelphia's defense, right through the middle of it. Couldn't be stopped. Chunk play after chunk play. And Stafford would have a big, threw a touchdown pass to Kyren Williams, threw a big touchdown pass to Davante Adams. So he's doing his thing. But then it's the third quarter, and things went to hell for Los Angeles, where Jalen Hurts said, I'm going to throw from the pocket. And he started firing. Finding A.J. Brown, going through his reads. Hits Dallas Goedert for a 33-yard touchdown, his only catch of the day. Devontae Smith. But he focused less on running, more on just being in the pocket, making throws against that Rams defense. And it worked. A.J. Brown, 6 for $109, 2 touchdowns. Devontae Smith, 8 for 60, 1 touchdown. Hurts was awesome in the second half. I mean, he's a Super Bowl champion, awesome player. Saquon Barkley ran 18 times for 46 yards, 2.6 a clip. Wasn't working. Rams could run the football whenever they wanted to, especially early in the game. They Philly couldn't. So they pivoted, started chunk play after chunk play, driving down the field. In a minute 54 left, Jalen Hurts on fourth down hits Devontae Smith for a touchdown. They go up 1. They miss out on the 2-point conversion. So that means the Rams are getting the ball. Minute 54, field goal to win. And Joshua Carty, 4 for 5 from field goals at this point, did have one blocked. But he's good from long distance. You think Matthew Stafford, 2 minutes, the Rams are going to win this game. At least I did anyway. And you look, Puka Nacua ran one time for 6 yards. Blake Corum, 8 carries, 53 yards. That's 6.6 a clip. Kyren Williams, 20 for 94, 4.7. I mean, they were running all over the Philadelphia defense. And they were running some more 2-minute warning. Matthew Stafford hits Nacua for a big play, puts them in field goal range. Nacua, 11 catches for 112 yards. He's so great, so clutch in the big moments. And Joshua Carty comes out. They're set up. And the field goal is blocked. For the second time in the game, Carty has a field goal blocked. Jordan Davis didn't have to pick up the ball, but he did and returned it for a touchdown at the buzzer. Not only did the Rams lose, they didn't cover the spread. Eagles just had to jump on the ball, sit on it. But Jordan Davis picked it up. A big fella touchdown who's a huge man, Jordan Davis from Georgia. They win. They cover the spread. Eagles are 3-0. Rams, massive lead. At one point, let me find it here. At one point, it was 26-7 for the Los Angeles Rams in the third quarter. And Philly comes all the way back to win the game 33-26. And blowing the spread open. Seemingly, the Rams can beat everybody but the Eagles. They lost to them twice last year. They lose them to them again this afternoon. Stafford didn't have a great day. He was under a lot of pressure. I don't know why they went away from the running game as much as they did. They ran the ball 30-some times. I would have ran it 40. Because you're chewing clock and it's working. And I think they were a little too – Sean McVay was a little too smart for my liking, where don't oversimplify this. Win the game. You're on the road in Philly, defending champions. Not an easy place to win. Not an easy team to beat. And you overthought yourself. Just do the basics. Get a win. Go home. Be 3-0 in a really tough division. And be happy with that. And that's one that they're going to shake their head the rest of the year. I still like the Rams. I still think they're a playoff team. I still think they can win their division. But there was no reason for them to lose that game. Credit to the Eagles for having that type of performance in the third, fourth quarter. Jalen Hurts clutch moments, and then special teams blocking 2 field goals. That's winning identity. That's winning culture. Doing what it takes. Different people stepping up every week. A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, I don't think have the best relationship. Just looking at body language and Jalen Hurts, at times, you look at him and go, you should throw more more from the pocket. You shouldn't take off. Read the play a little bit better. But you know what? It is what it is. Today, he threw from the pocket. A.J. Brown had a bunch of targets, a bunch of catches, caught a touchdown, showing how good he is. Would he probably want to play with another quarterback? Sure, but they win in Philadelphia. They have success. Reigning, defending champions. They find a way. To me, A.J. Brown is one of the best in the league. He'll continue to have success, no doubt about it. He'll continue to get targets, but Philly, they're such a hard team to read because you look at them and go, Jalen Hurts not your prototypical quarterback that you'd want. Nick Sirianni, a head coach that you go, not the guy that you'd put in, the movie, not a Coach Carter type guy. But they make it work. They make it work, and they're 3-0 to start a season coming off a Super Bowl. That's impressive to me. You beat the Cowboys, a division rival. You beat the Rams, a really tough team, early in the season. Who'd they play in week 2? Forgetting. Oh, they beat the Chiefs. Forgot about it. They beat the Chiefs. So win in Arrowhead, beat the Rams, beat the Cowboys. Not too shabby. Good stuff for the Eagles. As I mentioned, at Tampa next Sunday. That's an awesome game. Tampa's offensive line better heal up, though, because those pass rushers can get to you. But again, more like for the Rams, special teams. Oh, that's just such a killer. You got to find a way to win that game. Simple as that. Find a way to win that game. And not to mention, you have San Francisco in the division, win the game on a walk-off field goal. San Francisco 3-0 in your own division. They win a clunker today, I would define it, against Arizona, where neither team's offense was all that good. Both teams made some major mistakes. Both teams couldn't cap off drives, but San Francisco goes 2-0 with Mac Jones at quarterback, with Brock Purdy being out. You win on the road in Arizona. You win on the road in New Orleans. You take that. 3-0 for Kyle Shanahan. Brock Purdy could be back as soon as next week, potentially. 16-15. Kyler Murray today. Watched a lot of that. He had one of those games where he Kyler Murray'd. He can play a game where he throws for 350, 4 touchdowns, and he looks like a superhero. And then the next week, he looks, I don't even know how to describe it, incompetent. He threw the ball 35 times today, and he threw for 159 yards. 159 yards. That's Tua category. A lot of checkdowns today. He did have, Maserati Marv had about 3 drops, which didn't help him. Arizona's a frustrating team because they should have won that game. They had the whole first half, they had the ball for 12 minutes. In the first quarter, he had the ball 12 minutes, and they put up 3 points. I don't trust Arizona. San Francisco is a better team when healthy. And they won today. Pardon me, San Francisco was at home today. Pardon me. So they won at home with Mac Jones. But even still, division game, backup quarterback, and you win. Mac Jones was better than Kyler Murray today. Made some big throws. That made a big throw down the seam to Ricky Pearsall. Great throw, Ricky Pearsall. Another big game. McCaffrey had 27 touches today, over 130 yards. Just healthy, give him the ball, do what he can do till the wheels. Kendrick Bourne, who they brought back from the Patriots, 4 catches for 38 yards. No Kittle. No Ayuk. They used who they had, made it work. Credit to San Francisco. Arizona is going to be that team the rest of the year that I look at and just go, I don't know. I don't know who they are. 2-0, but their wins were against Carolina and New Orleans. That gives me no confidence that you're any good, that you're a good team. But you saw him and he stunk today. And Kyler Murray, they quick turnaround. They played Thursday night at home against Seattle. Could throw for 350 in that game and look awesome. And it wouldn't shock me. Because that's his career. Played just well enough to be a franchise quarterback, get a huge contract, stick around in Arizona. But then you go on the road to San Francisco and you put up 15 points when you had the ball basically for the entire first half. 15 points in a loss. And as I mentioned, Marvin Harrison Jr., he might be a bust, honestly. First year, you go, okay, struggled, looked slow, lethargic, running in mud. Year 2, he's dropping balls left and right. Still slow. And I just go, who is this guy? 142 yards, 3 games. That's junk. 10 catches, 3 games. That's not good. McBride is a much better player on this. McBride should get more targets, more receptions. He's got 7 more catches, more receiving yards than Marvin Harrison Jr., their top receiving target. Arizona also lost James Conner to an ankle injury. Yeesh. Their feature back, so not a great day all in all for Arizona. Injuries and just poor play. So we'll see what happens next for them. As I mentioned, they got Seattle Thursday night at home. Seattle winning 44-13 today against the New Orleans Saints. Rattler didn't even play that bad, quite frankly. And they only turned the ball over once. But Seattle was better at all facets. They had a punt return for a touchdown from Horton, rookie. Jackson Smith-Njigba was awesome, is awesome. Horton had a receiving touchdown as well today. Seattle's a good team. I've said this. I think they could be a playoff team. They're 2-1 now on the season. Should be 3-0, but they're 2-1. Darnold, 14 for 18, 218, 2 touchdowns. They didn't have to do a whole lot today. Like a pseudo bye week, and you play on Thursday, so that's nice to have some rest. Kenneth Walker had 2 rushing touchdowns. And Jigba, 5 catches for 96 yards. It was just a game where they controlled it from jump. And credit to Seattle, because I said I think they can be a playoff team. I like their team. New Orleans, 0-3, now on the season. They got the worst roster in football, so that's no big surprise. We'll see how competitive they can be as we keep going here for New Orleans. See who they got coming up at Buffalo next Sunday. That's going to be a big spread. That's going to be... And again, we'll talk about this more later in the week, but if I had to guess here on the fly with all of you, Buffalo 13.5, could be 14.5. Yeah, that's a Buffalo at home. That's a Buffalo 13.5 at least. Even though they didn't cover against the Dolphins on Thursday night. Other results today. You know, a game I thought could be a trap game. You're on the road, first road game of the season. Division game. The first 2 weeks couldn't have gone better. Quarterback's playing phenomenal. New scenery, everybody's excited. The bubble's going to burst. People want it to fail in some cases. To be like, oh, yeah, I knew this was never going to happen. But my favorite team to watch through 3 weeks, my Indianapolis Colts, went into Tennessee and put a beat down on their division rival to improve to 3-0 on the season. The Indianapolis Colts winning 41-20 in Tennessee. Now, Tennessee's not that good of a team. I realize this. And the Colts have 2 wins against the Dolphins, who have 0 wins, and the Titans, who have 0 wins. However, they beat the Broncos, and 3-0 is 3-0. And you play in the AFC South, and you could be a playoff team with 8 wins in the worst case scenario. But I like division game on the road. Titans have been frisky-ish. Cam Ward has done some good things. Bad players around. I thought he played pretty well again, but holding on to the ball a little too long. He's getting sacked a ton. He's gotten sacked, I believe, 14 times in 3 games, which is not good, obviously. But Amanor is really, he caught another touchdown. Okonkwo is a good tight end. It's the receivers, like Lockett and Calvin Ridley, have been really disappointing for him. I think more than Cam Ward being disappointing. They just, pardon my French, but they just can't fucking catch. Cam Ward, 23-38, 219. Probably his worst game of the 3 so far this season, I would argue. But Colts have been good. Danny Dimes, or Indiana Jones, as they're calling him. 18 for 25, 228, 1 touchdown. 3 games, he has not had a turnover. That's awesome. Taking care of the football volume threw a touchdown today. Jonathan Taylor had 3 rushing touchdowns, 17 carries for 102 yards. Jonathan Taylor looks like he's gotten just a burst about him. New life. 8 catches, 93 yards, a touchdown on the season, 60 carries, 338 yards, 5.6 yards a clip, 3 touchdowns. So 4 touchdowns in 3 games, getting a ton of carries. He had 1431 last year. Good season. But I look at him and go, it's a different feel. This Colts team, they believe in themselves. They believe that they can win. They can win. Sure, it's a bad division, but they can win this bad division. Houston, who won the division last year, is 0-3. 0-3, the Houston Texans losing in Jacksonville today, only putting up 10 points. Putrid offensive line, CJ Stroud not playing well at all. A defense that can play, but they're incompetent. Nobody trusts Jacksonville. Tennessee's 0-3. And they picked first overall last year. They're not a good team. They'll be picking high again. So why can't the Colts not go on a run, win the division, get 10 wins? They already have 3. They're a fun team to watch. Big playability. Tough receivers. Tyler Warren's a complete stud at tight end. One more game September for everybody, and then you go to October. Looking at Rams next Sunday for the Colts. Really tough test against a good team on the road. Home Raiders, home Cardinals, winnable games. That could be 5-1. Never know, but that could be. At Chargers, tougher game. But I'm not saying they can't win it. Home Titans, that's October. I see 6-2 to start the season. Could go completely haywire. But the Colts are good in every facet. They can get to the quarterback. They have a solid defense. Looking today, Tyquan Lewis, 2 sacks. Kwity Paye got a sack, former first rounder. Neville Gallimore, sack. So 4 sacks today on Cam Ward. Following week, so the previous week against Denver, got 1. They're not great, but they're okay. No true difference maker, but I think they can be competitive. 3-0 after 3 weeks. Good on the Colts, good on Indiana Jones. I'm rooting for them. And truly, if you have DAZN, wherever you ever watch your games, they are the best watch in the league through 3 weeks. I'm not lying to you about that. They truly are. I'll tell you who's not the best watch, the Raiders. The Raiders got smoked 41-24 today in Washington without Jaden Daniels. Embarrassing performance. Give up a kick return for a touchdown. They give up a rushing touchdown to Marcus Mariota. He game managed, and they won easily. Give up a 60-yard touchdown to Jeremy McNichols. Gave up a lot of defense, gave up a lot of big plays. Geno Smith got sacked 5 times today by Washington's defense. Ashton Genties hasn't had any spark through 3 weeks. You took him in the first round. Trey Tucker had 8 catches for $145, 3 touchdowns. Great. You lost by 20 points. Not a good game against the Chargers. Not a good game against the Commanders. 1-2. Play the Bears next Sunday. What a fun game that'll be. Pressure in Vegas. on that defense to wake up, or Pete Carroll to get something out of that defense. Another embarrassing performance. Atlanta loses 30-0 at Carolina. I don't care if it's at Carolina, the moon, Venus, Uranus. You can't lose 30-0 to Carolina, period. Carolina, who didn't look good the first 2 weeks of the season. Carolina, quite frankly, I'm going to watch this game again this week because I'm curious. Bryce Young threw for 121 yards today. And yet they won by 30 points. Penix threw 2 interceptions, completed less than 50% of his passes, got benched. Kirk Cousins came in, turned the ball over on downs twice, had a fumble, a disastrous day. But after beating Minnesota, big stage, Sunday Night Football, you lay an egg like this. You lay an egg like this. I thought Tennessee was going to be the trap game. Clearly it was this one because Atlanta didn't show up to Carolina. Brutal for the Falcons. Brutal. Another one today, this afternoon. Minnesota beat Cincinnati 48-10 at home. This was a battle of the backups. No Burrow, obviously Jake Browning in. No J.J. McCarthy, Carson Wentz in. Carson Wentz was fine. The story of the game. Isaiah Rodgers. Who's Isaiah Rodgers, you might ask? He's a corner for Minnesota, and he's going to be Player of the Week. All of this that I'm going to read out was in the first half. Pick 6, 70 yards, touchdown. Forced fumble, then picks up the fumble, returns it 65 yards to the house, touchdown. Next drive, forced fumble, recovered by Minnesota. He's the first player in franchise history to score 2 touchdowns in a single game. First defensive player to score 2 touchdowns, and he scored both of them in the same half. Player of the game. Got the game ball. No doubt about it. Will never have a better game in his life, Isaiah Rodgers, than the one he had today in Minnesota. Carson Wentz was a game manager, but he managed the game well. 14 for 20, $173, 2 touchdowns, did not turn the ball over. They ran the ball. Jordan Mason, 16 carries for $116 and 2 touchdowns. They played safe. They played smart. They got a massive, by halftime, it was, let's see here, 34-3. 34-3 at halftime, so they were never in risk of losing the game. Called a safe game. Jake Browning, 2 interceptions. They fumbled the ball. They had 5 turnovers today, the Bengals. Jamar Chase had 5 catches for 50 yards. Sorry, Bengals had 6 turnovers today. Just a complete no-show. Good on Carson Wentz. Good on Minnesota. 2-1. Bengals now 2-1. But just a what the hell happened performance there. And then you got the Steelers beating the Patriots in Foxborough, 21-14. Patriots, 5 turnovers today. 5 turnovers, and yet they should have still won the game. Pop Douglas late in the game, 4th down. Had the first down, then cut back, hoping to get more yardage. Tackled behind the line of scrimmage. So Pittsburgh wins 21-14. Here's the formula for the Steelers. If they protect Aaron, they'll win most of the time. They don't, they're going to lose. He got sacked 4 times last week. They lost to Seattle. He didn't get sacked. He only threw for $139. He doesn't want to get hit anymore. But he threw for $139, had an interception, threw 2 touchdown passes. Steelers' offense is not threatening whatsoever. But their defense through 3 weeks has been getting better. Week 1 against the Jets was awful. Their special teams was more of the issue last week. And then they get 5 turnovers today. Ramondre Stevenson fumbled twice. Drake May threw 2 interceptions, and Antonio Gibson fumbled. Hunter Henry was awesome. 8 catches for 90 yards, 2 touchdowns for the veteran tight end. Overall, I thought Drake May played pretty well again, but he was under duress. He got sacked 5 times today. Made a really bad decision at the end of the first half in the end zone. That can't be an interception, but it was an interception in that moment. New England's got to be frustrated. Vegas week 1 probably should have won. Find a way to beat Miami, and then you lose to the Steelers at home. I thought you took New England plus the points. Would have been the smart bet, but it blows up in their face. I don't feel good about either team, quite frankly. Steelers, and this is a programming note for everybody, the London games start next weekend. Vikings, Steelers, 10:30 a.m. kickoff in Wembley. So 2-2-1. Sounds like it'll be Carson Wentz again in London against Aaron Rodgers. Steelers, they're come see, come saw. We'll see. And New England's still making stupid. Ramondre Stevenson, he's got a fumbling problem. He had it with Bill Belichick. He's still got it now. That's been his Achilles heel as a pro. New England's got Carolina next weekend. Got to be a victory. Got to be a victory before you get at Bills. But New England, October is at Buffalo on a Sunday night. Saints, Titans, Browns, Falcons. All very winnable games. I'm not giving up on the Patriots. They got some things to work through, no doubt about it. Drake May still makes decisions that are stupid and cost his team games. But they can work their way through it. Also today, the Blue Jays clinched a playoff berth. Kudos to them beating Kansas City. They have a 2-game lead over the New York Yankees with the tiebreaker with 6 games to play. 3 against the Red Sox and 3 against Tampa Bay, I believe. All at home. So we'll talk more baseball this week. Also, Tuesday's pod, we'll start to preview NHL divisions. We're going to talk Pacific Division and the Central Division. So we'll do out west, then come out east. So that'll be on Tuesday's pod. Tonight we got Giants, Chiefs in the Meadowlands. I like Giants plus 5.5, personally. I'm curious to see how the game goes. I think the Giants can win the game. Wouldn't shock me if they do. And then tomorrow night, Ravens, Lions in Maryland. Ravens are 4.5-point home favorites. I respect the Ravens. I like the Ravens. This screams a game where they get a lead and they blow it. Because that seems to be their formula. They have given up more fourth quarter leads than any team in the NFL the last 3 years. Detroit's a good team. Prove that against the Bears. Jared Goff can cook. I don't think it's crazy to bet the Lions to win outright. I certainly like the Lions plus 4.5 in Baltimore. It's an awesome game. But I like the Lions to cover tomorrow night in Baltimore. So Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, we'll be live. We're going to preview the Pacific Central Divisions. We'll talk about Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football recaps, as well as talk some baseball. Thursday night, 7 o'clock, we'll preview Week 4, including the Thursday nighter between Arizona and Seattle. So that'll be forthcoming on Thursday. We'll also talk some baseball as we head into the last weekend of the baseball season. So thanks for hanging out tonight. Appreciate the support as always. Go give us a follow, like, subscribe on Spotify/Apple. Really helps the cause. So until Tuesday, have a great rest of your evening. I'm your host, Noah Warren, and this is the Live and Learn podcast.